to week 2 of the 8-week body transformation challenge. This week what we are discussing is 5 things that you can do when you have hit a plateau and you cannot seem to lose the weight that you were losing doing the same things that you are doing anymore. So something needs to change to get over that plateau and for you to continue to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So number 1, first and foremost, is food tracking. So I got you started on that last week so that you get an idea as to how to do it, and you also start to take notice as to how many calories you're consuming in a day. Is it enough? Is it not enough? We haven't discussed that yet, but we are going to discuss it now. So for your calorie recommendations for women, the general guideline is 1 calorie per kg of body weight per hour in the day. So for example, if you are 60 kgs, you would times that by 24 hours in the day, which gives you 1,440 calories. So this is what your basal metabolic rate is. This is, if you did nothing all day except sat on the couch, that's how much energy you would burn by doing nothing, okay? So this is your bare minimum that you need just to survive and feel half decent, okay? So it doesn't take into consideration how much activity you are doing and how physical you are throughout your day. So I'll give you just a little bit of an example of that. So where I sit is about that 1440 calories is my basal metabolic rate. However, I have found that I can actually start to lose weight even when I'm at 1800 calories per day, because I've trained for the last 10 years and I have some decent amount of muscle mass. So the more muscle mass you have, this is why we weight train, the more efficient our metabolism is, and the higher our basal metabolic rate is, because it takes more energy to do all your body's daily functions if you have more muscle mass, okay? So that's why I always recommend weight training, because the more muscle mass you have, the more efficient your metabolism is and the better you'll feel, okay? So there's a difference between just eating your basal metabolic rate amount of calories and actually taking into consideration your activity levels. So generally I'd like for you to start at a higher level of calories and then drop down if you need to, because if you start at your basal metabolic rate, you're probably going to lose weight pretty damn quickly and it's not going to be sustainable. And what we really want is for it to be as sustainable as possible. So definitely add that into consideration. If you're exercising or if you have a physical job where you're on your feet most of your day, add a few hundred calories and start from there. If you don't lose weight, then we know, well, actually we need to drop them calories a little bit lower. But take into consideration when you do alter those calories that even if you're dropping 100 calories off that amount per week, that's 700 calories per week less, so it should contribute to more weight loss. So even though 100 calories a day doesn't seem like much less, it's just a banana at the end of the day, right? It is 700 calories at the end of the week. So take that into account. So that's it for number 1, food tracking and calorie counting. So that's kind of tied into the 1 recommendation. Number 2 would be to start tracking your macronutrients. So it's really important, if we want to feel our best, we need adequate protein for all our body functions, because we need amino acids for all the cell repair and renewal going on in our body on a daily basis. So to work out your daily protein target, you need at least 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. So for example, if you're 75 kilograms, then you would times that by 0.8 as your lowest point, which gives you the amount of 60 grams of protein as your target per day to try and hit that each day, okay? My recommendation would be to start a little bit higher than that, because generally we can't go wrong if that protein level is a bit higher, because it helps us to feel more satisfied after a meal, helps to keep our blood sugar levels stable so we're not crashing down after a meal and feeling a big energy slump. And we're going to have nice stable energy throughout the day, and we're probably going to feel a lot happier for that, okay? So if you're working at 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight, and say you're 75 kilograms, then you would need 75 grams of protein to hit per day. Now we can increase that if you need to, but definitely start with that as a starting point, and then I can talk to you about whether you need to change it dependent on your goals after trialing that for a little while. Tracking your food might seem really tedious and boring, but at the end of the day, it's really important that we know what we are eating, and you're not going to reach lifelong goals if you don't have a basic understanding of calories and macronutrients, okay? So we need those macronutrients to provide us with adequate fuel and energy, but also to perform as well as we can possibly perform and get better results from our training, because we're hitting the right macronutrient targets. So I will go into carbs and fat on another day, but as your starting point, let's focus on protein and get that 1 gram per kilogram of body weight per day, okay? So most of those tracking apps, like I mentioned last week, will give you an idea of that. If they don't, let me know, and I can recommend different apps that will do that. Okay, so number 1 was calories and tracking. Number 2 was taking into consideration your macronutrients, specifically your protein intake. Number 3 would be to make sure you are adequately hydrated. If we are not hydrated, we're going to feel a lot more lethargic, tired, weaker. We're not going to perform as well in our exercise. We're not going to have as much energy to feel good throughout the day and continue doing our daily tasks without wanting to sit on the couch and die or just relax, okay? And yes, it's okay to relax occasionally, but if you want energy to power through your day strong and without having those up and downs throughout the day, then definitely take into consideration your hydration. Make sure you are getting at least a minimum of 2 liters of water per day, and you can increase that depending on how much activity you're doing as well. Okay, it doesn't hurt to drink plenty of water. Obviously there is an extreme too much, but I highly doubt that you are having too much, but if you do think you are, just let me know and I can give you a guideline as to what you should be sticking under. So obviously more than 3.5, 4 liters is a bit excessive, okay? Alright, that's 3 things. Next would be to manage our stress. Most of us have very high levels of stress, and the more stressed we are, the more cortisol our adrenal glands produce. Now our adrenal glands are what provide our body with energy and help to support a nice healthy stress response. So if our adrenals run down, we can feel depressed, we can feel a lot more anxious than we should be feeling. We will feel tired, we probably won't sleep as well as what we should, and what else? You'll probably be a lot more moodier than what you would normally as well if your adrenals are struggling. So naturopathically, there's a lot we can do. Your adrenals thrive off certain nutrients such as your vitamin C, magnesium, your B vitamins, and also certain herbs like your ginseng, withania, licorice, all those different ones. Now, I'm not giving any specific recommendations as to what you should be taking for your adrenals because I don't know your medical conditions or your medical history. They're just general names I just threw out there, okay? So don't self-medicate just because I named a few. If you do want help and you can tell that your stress is beyond where it should be, let me know. I'm definitely happy to work with you on that and give you tips and ideas as to how to better manage your stress. Other lifestyle things we could do is go for walks, do meditation, do yoga, do breathing exercises, kinesiology, bone therapy, and making sure we're doing something we enjoy each week are all things that can really help to lower our cortisol levels in our body. Now, when we have high cortisol levels, this will affect our gut health, it'll affect our hormonal health, and it'll affect our thyroid health. So it's really important that you are managing your stress well. If you're not, your body's going to be like, you know what, I'm going to hang on to everything I can because I'm in fight or flight mode and I can't deal with anything else right now. So I'm not going to let you lose weight because you are telling me that my body is very stressed. Okay? So just have that as an understanding and understand the importance of looking after a healthy stress response and our adrenal glands. Alright, so that's 4 things. Last on the list is gut health. If we have bacterial overgrowth such as candida or parasites or other pathogenic bacteria or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, our gut is not going to be functioning as well as it should. And if your gut isn't functioning as well as it should, then you're not going to be absorbing the nutrients from your food like you should, which is why we can end up with iron deficiencies or B12 deficiencies and other nutritional deficiencies, because our gut isn't working as well as it should. We don't just get nutritional deficiencies just from diet alone, because most of the time we are consuming plenty of those nutrients in our diet, but there's other factors going on which are affecting the absorption of your nutrients via your gut. Okay? So if you feel you have any gut health conditions or concerns, definitely feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to help. We could also work together naturopathically and basically get on top of your gut concerns and make your gut function the most optimal it can function. Okay, so signs and symptoms of poor gut health include frequent illness, lots of smelly flatulence, belching, reflux, bloating, diarrhea or constipation, off-coloured poos like either pale, green, yellow, really dark. They're kind of your off colours, and then if there is mucus or blood in your bowel movements as well, that's another sign that your gut health needs some work. So things that can affect our gut health are your parasites, bacteria, yeasts, food intolerances or food sensitivities and allergies, and also high stress, because the more cortisol we produce, cortisol is inflammatory, so it's going to cause gut inflammation as well. Okay? So I will attach a little article that I did yesterday as my social media post and weekly email, which actually involves 10 things that you can do in order to get over your weight loss plateaus. But for now, today, that's 5 things to take into consideration. Your most important this week is to track your calories. Now that we've got your tracking your food underway, let's start looking at how much calories you are getting, and just start recognizing also how many grams of protein you're consuming on a daily basis. Don't need to change it as yet, but it's something to look at and see what you're doing. Okay? So, hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you have found that informative and learnt something new today. If you have any questions at all, make sure you pop a comment below, because if you're thinking that question, no doubt someone else is, and it's really good to share it in the group so that people can see what you're doing. And even your food tracking, share it in the group. You don't have to share it to me directly each week. Share it in the group if you want to. You can share it with me if you prefer. But people like to see what other people are doing, because it's inspiring and motivating, and it helps us to keep on track when we see that other people are doing the right thing as well. Okay? So just remember your goals from last week too. Keep that in mind. Have a think about it every morning when you wake up. Is what you're going to do today bringing you closer to your goals, or is it not? Okay? That's the most important thing at the end of the day. Alright guys, have a great week and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.